Greetings YouTube, this is Kevlar Chicken. Here, as promised, what another folding knife review. In this case, the Umarex EliteForce folding knife, Umarex EF164. So, this is the standard box that it comes in. This is not an unboxing, I've owned this for a while, and have used it. So, here it is. Usually you get some bubble wrap with it. Now, as you can see, it's a pretty standard looking folding knife. Has a built clip, which is nice. Most do, but some don't, and I appreciate them coming with one, even though 99% it's pretty standard for them nowadays. So, I will leave the characteristics of this down in the description, but I will quickly go over the ones that usually people care about. So, as you can see, it's full gray color, belt clip, standard folding knife. Now, the blade steel, which is something a lot of people tend to care about, is 440A stainless, which isn't overly impressive, but this is fairly cheap. Now, in terms, speaking of how cheap it is, the price that I found on different sites is retails in the UK for about £15. In Europe, in the European site I found for about 20 euros and $35 in the American site that I found. So it really depends on when you're ordering from. So, even if you convert the prices, those aren't exactly the same, but it is a cheap one, so you can't expect too much from it. But that means something happens to it, you're not losing much money. Now, the handle just says metal scales. I would personally like it more if they added a bit of something, at least for the grip. Now, the overall blade length is 2.99 inches, or let's just say 3 inches, because there's barely a difference, or 7.6 centimeters. And the weight is 106 grams, and for you Americans out there, that's 3.84 ounces. Now, what I like about this knife is that it's light, it's pretty affordable, it's a nice straight edge, so you can much more easily cut salami with it, for example. The point tapers, meaning it's thicker here and gradually towards the tip gets thinner. The edge type is listed as a spear point. You can see what they mean by this. I'm gonna try to show it on the camera as best as I can. I like that they kept it, fairly simple, but it would have been nice if at least the handle was a different color, or they added something as a grip. So those are the cons. Now I'm going towards the cons. And in terms of style, my minor nitpick about this is it does have the same color syndrome. Like, this looks like if if you've ever played, online games, like this is your level 1 dagger when it glitches out or the texture doesn't load, like it's just the cutout, because it's just gray and like a bit soulless. This is just, or like in an MMO when your character's weapon is just all white, if you've ever played those, and sometimes your character's weapon just glitches out and it's all white. Yeah, that's preference, and I do appreciate that they kept it simple, because I would rather this be the same color all throughout and have a bit of the same color syndrome, rather than go overly fancy. That looks much uglier. This is actually, at least it's slick, smooth. Now, the locking mechanism, as you can see, is listed as a frame lock. Now, I don't know too much about locking mechanisms, but you can pretty much just see how it works. This holds the edge up, and if I just push it back here, now you can see that now it can go down. And the way it unlocks is, you just push this pin. Now, this Haven't used this much, but it is a bit, how should I say, stiff. Like, maybe if you use it more, this will loosen up. I would rather this be that way than, you know, rattle. But it would also be nice if it unlocks a bit easier. That's a minor nitpick, I mean. So, without further ado, the standard knife test. So, okay, not overly hard. Just tear it a bit, not a clean cut. Let's try using a bit of a technique, you know, I'll put it closer to my finger so I give the knife a bit more of a chance. Okay, so at this, if you get the angle right, it cuts it pretty easily. It does have a dull spot, as you can see, but it does cut. There is also a bit of a technique, it's a cutting paper. Let's see how it does on the smaller piece, which, you know, I'll have more control over the... Okay, so... Let's try a bit of a faster slicing motion so we give it a more of a chance. Yep. So as you can see, this is very addicting, by the way. Knife guys know this. Okay, so could use a touch-up. You can see, you know, even when you... It does slice nicely. But even with, you know, with the nice sound, you can still see that it kind of tears it a bit. So needs a bit of a touch-up. So I would give this like an 8 out of 10. So one of the pros I forgot to mention is, since this is lighter than the last one I reviewed, I mentioned that one of the cons is it's probably not good for everyday carry. This one, you can put it in the pocket of your jeans and just forget about it, like completely forget about it. Like, this is pretty light, you know, not super light, but I would say 3.8 ounces is just about where it's still functional. It still has some weight to it. It's not gonna break overly easily, but you can just slap it on your pants and forget about it pretty easy. So since I'm not wearing jeans, which is usually easier, and this is still stiff because I haven't worn this a lot, I'm just gonna use the vest here and pops in fairly easily.